You ever walk into a room and something just shifts? Not dramatically. Nobody makes a scene. Nobody says anything rude to your face, but you feel it. The conversation that got quieter when you walked up. The laugh that stopped a half second too late. The smile that hit the mouth but completely skipped the eyes. That's not paranoia, homie. That's information. And today we're gonna decode it, using the man who understood social dynamics better than anyone who ever lived, Niccolò Machiavelli. The guy who literally wrote the book on how human beings operate when nobody's watching them. Welcome back. This channel covers the real psychology of power, the stuff they buried, the stuff they hoped you'd never find. Let's get into it. Machiavelli had this observation about powerful men that sounds almost too simple until you actually sit with it and realize it's describing your life right now. He said, "Never let people know more about you than they need to." And most of us are out here violating this law every single day. On Instagram, on LinkedIn, at the work happy hour nobody actually wanted to go to, in the group chat at 11:30 on a Tuesday night. You are sharing everything, your plans before they're done, your opinions before they're informed, your wins before they're real, your feelings before they're sorted. And here's what Machiavelli understood that nobody else will tell you: the moment people know everything about you, they stop being curious about you. And the moment people stop being curious, they start being critical, because idle minds don't just wander, they judge. You ever notice how the most mysterious person in any room is the one everybody talks about with something close to respect? And the person who told everybody everything, their weekend, their relationship problems, their career anxiety, is the one getting quietly roasted in the group chat you're not in. That's not a coincidence. That's human nature operating exactly as Machiavelli mapped it. Information is currency. And you've been out here giving yours away for free. The less they know, the more they imagine. And what they imagine is almost always more impressive than the truth. Here's the second reason people quietly write you off. And this one's gonna sting. You're too available. Not available like I'm a solid friend. Available like they can predict exactly where you'll be, what you'll say, how you'll react, and what you'll accept. Machiavelli wrote about this in the context of princes, but apply it to your actual life right now. The ruler who is completely predictable is the ruler whose enemies sleep well at night. They know the playbook. They've mapped your moves. They know your buttons. They know your limits. They know exactly how far they can push you before you actually do anything about it. And most people push right up to that line every single time because you've never moved it. The person who can be fully predicted can be fully managed, and nobody respects what they manage. I'm not talking about going cold on people. I'm talking about genuine unpredictability. Don't always be the first to respond. Don't always make it easy. Don't always show up with exactly the energy they assumed you'd bring. Introduce some mystery into how you operate, not as a game, as a policy. Third reason, the one nobody wants to hear. The version of you that exists in other people's heads is not the version you think you're presenting. There's a gap, and Machiavelli spent his entire career studying that gap. He called it the difference between what a man is and what a man appears to be. And his conclusion, the one that got his book banned by the church, was that in the real world the appearance almost always wins. You think you're coming across as confident. They're reading arrogant. You think you're being humble. They're reading insecure. You think you're being generous. They're reading desperate. You think you're being chill. They're reading unserious. And none of these people are necessarily wrong. They're just responding to a signal you didn't know you were sending. This is what Machiavelli called the optics problem, and it has been wrecking ambitious people since before electricity existed. You know that thumbnail? The one that says they whisper this with a man leaning forward and people whispering in the background. That's not a dramatic visual choice. That's Tuesday. That is literally what is happening in every workplace, every friend group, every social environment you have ever been in. People are building a narrative about you right now, in conversations you're not in, based entirely on your optics, not your intentions, not your character, not what's actually going on inside you. Your optics. You don't get to choose what people think of you, but you absolutely get to choose what you give them to think with. All right. The fourth point, the actual answer to the question in the title. Why does everyone secretly hate you? Here it is. Machiavelli said men are driven by two things above everything else: fear of loss, desire for gain, not love, not loyalty, not justice, loss and gain. And when people secretly resent you, when they're quiet when you walk up, when they smile at the mouth but not the eyes, it's almost never about something you did specifically. It's because you stopped representing either a fear or a desire for them. You became, in their subconscious calculation, irrelevant to their outcomes. Not a threat, not an opportunity, not someone to be feared, not someone to want access to, just background noise. Nobody secretly hates the person who makes them feel like they could lose something or gain something. You know who they secretly hate? The person who is neither, the person who is always just there, steady in their smallness, dependable in their irrelevance, comfortable in their predictability. So the real question isn't why does everyone secretly hate me? The real question is, have I made myself impossible to ignore? Because Machiavelli wasn't talking about being liked. He was talking about being undeniable. Those are not the same thing, and that difference is everything. So let's bring it home. Stop showing them everything. Stop being fully readable. Start managing the gap between who you are and who you appear to be deliberately, strategically, every single day. Those people whispering in the background, let them whisper. The goal was never to make the whispering stop. The goal is to make what they're whispering worth saying. Be the kind of person people talk about when you leave the room, not the kind they forget while you're still in it. Machiavelli figured that out in exile, on a farm, with nothing but his thoughts and his anger. You've got a strategy, a phone, and everything you just heard. No excuses. If this hit, send it to someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe if you're not done yet. And drop in the comments one person in your life who actually has this figured out. Someone real I'll be reading.